Okay, psychic ability. You know, this seems to be the thing that interests everybody. I mean, you see it all over the place on TV, the movies. Um, it's been around forever. It's been poo-pooed again by people of a more scientific mind, supposedly. And it's really very simple to explain. Once you understand that we are all interconnected, that everything is energy, you have to begin to understand that one of the things that happens to you is that your entire being is almost like a tape recorder. That everything that happens to you, that you do, is registered in this energy that is part of your existence. And that is readable. That can be tuned into. You know, it's very easy to sit back and say, well, this doesn't correspond to anything scientific and so forth. But let me tell you something from somebody who was very skeptical. I mean, when I started doing things, because I went to a psychic development class, and I started picking up, and I turned out that I was right, I was amazed, okay? And I saw many, many other people who had the same type of experiences and felt the exact same way. As a matter of fact, for a great number of years, I had an organization that showed people how to develop the psychic ability along with other abilities such as mediumship and healing. And I mean, this has happened to countless people, hundreds of people. And there are thousands of people around the world that have these experiences. I mean, tell me, have you ever been thinking about somebody and all of a sudden you get a phone call? I once gave a lecture where I asked the people there to put up their hands if that had happened to them. And virtually every hand in the room went up, okay? It's real, it happens, and it can be understood, and it can be put to positive use. Now, I'll just give you one small example that meant an awful lot to me. I was home one Saturday morning, and I was sitting in my family room watching TV, and all of a sudden I got this bad feeling, and I didn't know what it was, but it was just a bad feeling. And on the other side of the wall opposite me is my garage. And I went and opened the door and saw my 4-year-old son holding a rotary saw with the plug and going to put it into the wall. And I just grabbed it, put it away, and said how thankful I was that I was able to perceive that and that understand that something was wrong. Because God knows what would have happened to him if he had plugged that in. I mean, he could have been hurt and hurt very badly. And that's just one example over, I can't begin to tell you how many there are over the course of the years that I've been involved with this. I mean, it's something that has made a big difference in my life. What makes it a little bit difficult is when somebody picks up this way, you try and make a determination. And that determination is this my imagination, or is this something that I'm actually picking up? Because it is a little difficult to separate the two. But after a while, you kind of get a feeling for it, and you begin to understand that, well, in this particular instance, I think it's real. Because it seems to be coming out of nowhere and just coming in at you. And it's really very simple. What you're seeing is images that come across your mind's eye. If I happened at one time to be giving a reading to somebody, that's what I do. I mentally say to myself, I want to tune into this person, and I want to watch the images that come across my mind's eye. And then I have to begin to interpret. And interpretation is necessary for a very good reason. My life and your lives are totally different. What an image would mean to me and what it would mean to you can be totally different because our experiences are different. So I have to see an image that is relevant to me, and I have to interpret it. And after a while, again, you get a feel for it. Are you going to be wrong sometimes? Absolutely. There's none of us that are perfect. All right, but you're going to find that yourself like maybe 90% of the time that you're right. So you begin to reach out, and you begin to do things that you thought was never possible. And you can help people. Now, when you tell somebody something might happen, and you know what I said might. When somebody picks up psychically, all they are picking up is what the potential is at that particular point in time. You have free will, and you can change the way your existence runs at any particular point. So that's all you're picking up is the potential at that particular time. But you also begin to understand that you can reach out. On a chapter in visualization, we're going to go into understanding something called remote viewing, that you can tune in at what appears to be a great distance, because distance doesn't really exist at one particular level. And you begin to reach out. And I always put this example into because of my friend. It was my first experience of, I don't know if you'd call it psychic, but let me tell you what happened. We were sitting around having some fun, talking. We had not seen each other for a while. And an elderly couple came in, and they started saying things, and they were funny. And we started laughing. But I realized that my friend Bill and I were not laughing at what they were saying. We were laughing at something else which their conversation made us think of. And this happened like 4 or 5 times in a row. And I said to myself, in my mind, to Bill, I said, Bill, you can hear me. And Bill was quiet. And I said, Bill, you can hear me. And Bill turned a little pale, and he looked at me, and he said, don't get heavy with me. That was my first experience. There's so much more to explore, so much more to talk about, but that initial experience made a big difference in my life and made me understand that I am capable of much more than I ever dreamed of. And so are we all. This is very important in understanding who we are, what the capabilities of our consciousness are. Now, we will go on to other topics, and I think you'll find it interesting because we're going to take those limitations and try and do what we consider to be limitations and do away with them and give us a true picture of who we are and what we can do.